Hello! I am Sophie Van On. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another writing vlog. This one is fun because we are returning to an old project of mine, relatively. Project Glass. I talked in a previous video about starting this project again, because I've missed it. And right now I'm not writing anything in the Project What world. So I have time. I am going to prioritize Project Glass for the time being. I really want to get another draft out. I wanna be in this story again. If you don't know, Project Glass is a sort of supernatural story, I suppose. Possibly a little thrillery. Not really. It is a story about two sisters that live in this town that has been taken over by a virus that infects people and turns them into like really messed up versions of themselves. Physically, they sort of lose themselves. They turn basically into animals. I'll show you actually a speed paint of one of these creatures that they turn into. It takes over their bodies and then they sort of like haunt the town, and it's a story of these two girls sort of grappling with this virus that has been in their lives for 2 years and what they want to do to move on, to grow. Yeah. It's a weird book. I came up with it before I really had a good idea of story structure, which is terrible. I also came up with Project What before I knew how to actually properly structure a story. So, you know, it is salvageable, I assume. Today we are working on Project Glass, and I think every time for the past while that I've posted about Project Glass, it has been an outlining vlog, a little outline with me thing. We're doing that again. I apologize. Here, I have this. I'm starting this project from scratch again. Not really, because I already have the basic idea of the story, but I am completely re-outlining it. This little tiny draft is the zero draft. This is what I wrote, I think in 2020 or 2021, but I think 2020. It's it's something. I love the characters. I love the dynamic that they have and the story that I was trying to tell. You know, sometimes ambitions outweigh skill. And I feel like that's what's happened here. But I have reread it entirely. She's marked up, and I've got like just basic story ideas in here. Because once again, I'm like overwriting the entire story today in this video and trying to make something a little more solid. Just slightly. Slightly more solid. I read this in like 2-3 days, and I've actually already done, I think, most of the work that I have to do for this project. I have a digital notebook because it makes organizing so much better, but I have a digital notebook of my basic brainstorming that I wanted to do to better understand the story, I would say. I had some main ideas here, mostly backstory, history, on the characters, the characters' families, the town that they live in, what the government in this town has done in regards to the virus that has taken over everything. A lot of lore that I want to write into this book to really just put us 100% in this town, you know? And then I also needed to better understand the actual virus that has taken over the town, because I mean, of course I had a basic idea. I wrote the book, but I just needed something a little more substantial. Something that showed that the people of this town weren't completely ignorant on what was happening to them. They weren't just like these creepy little guys that like sometimes killed people. Like, they tried to understand what was going on and they tried to combat it, but at this point nothing they could do would work. I wanted to show that they had an understanding by me having an understanding. Does that make sense? Also, I need to flesh out my two main characters. Like, I've already written them. I have a basic idea of what I want to do with them. Their motivations were a little wishy-washy, I would say, in the zero draft. They kind of just like bounced back and forth on what they really wanted. So this time around, I wanted to set in stone their goals, their motivations, what they're up against, and what they want by the end of the book. And then also their parents. They're dead. They're dead in the book, but given how I want to write it with a lot of backstory, I wanted to know more about their entire family, because 2 years ago, they weren't dead. They weren't gone. You know, they're a little important, they're parents. So I wanted to know who these people were, because they're not in this at all. Maybe like twice. They're in like 2 flashback scenes, and I don't want to just do 2, but those were the things that I wanted to fix. I think I fixed all of them. I can try and show you here. I don't know how well it's going to show up on the camera, but these are my pages. That's it. That's all I did. Like, that's the whole thing. All that is to say that I think I am ready, hopefully, to re-outline this book. I have the original draft 1 outline that I made like a year ago, maybe, when I tried to pick up this project then. I don't know how much of this I'm actually going to change. Saying that, I'll probably change a lot more than would be ideal. This is my guide. This is my backbone. And I am going to hopefully just beef this up, probably rearrange a lot of things, and like I said, I really just want to add more backstory, more lore, more world building into this project. So I feel like maybe a lot of this will stay, but we will see what happens. We will see what happens. That was the longest and rantiest intro I've ever filmed in my whole life. Let's get started. I'm gonna read through these, see what I'm working with, and we will reconvene when I know how bad it is. Yay! Okay. Okay. I'm barely into this outline so far, just rereading it, seeing what I have. I'm like a third of the way through. This handwriting, I like how it looks. I think it's fun how it looks. It's just, I did not try to write full letters in so many places. Like, look at this. Look at this. I figured out what it said. It didn't actually take that long to figure out what it said too, which is kind of funny. But look at this. Please focus on it. This. What do we think this says? Class. What do we think this says? This whole line here says false turning point. That says turning. I'm disgusted. Disgusted with myself. Why on earth would I assume that me, in the future, would immediately know that? I low-key did, actually. But still, that's like an F, a squiggle, and a Y. I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, it's been like 2 minutes. This is so funny to me, I'm sorry. You can't even read. I can barely read it. But it's... It like has like, oh, another backstory scene, blah blah blah. This down here that you can't read, it literally just says motivation ... and the rest is blank. I am a genius. Okay, the fan's staying on for this. I'm sorry, I'm like sweating because I had an idea that could really elevate the story, and I don't know if I have the guts to do it. It would be killing off one of the main characters, one of the 2 sisters. That would be literally so like heartbreaking for me. But I feel like okay, I'm gonna be honest, I low-key set it up in this draft, by accident, completely by accident. And I was like, hold on, that sounds like it's hinting to her death. It could happen. It could happen. Possibly. I'm gonna keep it in my brain. And see if it ends up working with my final outline. It would be so sad, but it would make sense. it would make sense if it did happen. I'm at like the midpoint of the book right now, plot-wise, kind of. I don't have like 15 beats in these cards. This is just story. I've only added 2 little sticky notes so far. Not to say that I'm keeping everything that's right here. I had to come back and be like, maybe I'll kill off one of the characters. It just seems like logical and natural that that's what would happen. I don't know. Let me go through the rest of the outline. I'll keep it in the back of my head. And we'll see. We'll see. I'm kind of leaning towards it actually happening though, which is so evil and scary to write. To think about having to write that. We're not even close to that part. Anyways, yeah, let me finish looking through this outline. Hi. Get all teary-eyed. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it. Actually, like, crying. Haven't actually outlined anything yet. Just implications. I read the ending scenes that I have. Originally, hold on, let me turn my fan off. I read my original closing scenes, their cards, and how the story ends with both sisters being alive. And to think now that it's just going to be one of them, when it was supposed to be 2. In her heart, it was supposed to be both of them, and now she has to do it alone. Sad, man. These are my characters. I could choose. She can live. We can get the happy ending. But I don't think this story is fit for an ending like that. But seeing the last cards after I put in these yellow notes of like, oh yeah, the character's dead. She's dead. And then seeing those where she's very much alive. Whew. Whew. You know? Ouch. Ouch. My everything. Anyways, I've read through everything to emotionally recover from this story epiphany. I think I'm just going to dismantle the order that I've had these in, and organize the cards by topic so I can rearrange them into an outline that I like more. Days since I filmed this video last. Oops. Last time I was here, I was like, okay, now I can actually start outlining, and I turned everything digital so I could outline in my digital notebook. I realized the way I organized the digital pictures of my plot cards was so terrible. So terrible and disorienting that it was hard to find the right card to put next. So we're gonna go the old-fashioned way first, and I'm going to organize every card that I know I'm gonna keep into the order that I want them, so I know what I need to add to digitally. So I'm gonna do that tonight, and then after that I'll probably go to sleep, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, which tomorrow I want to finish this outline. I want to have it done. I want to be ready to write. And I don't know if I've said this already. I don't think I have. This is not going to be a super detailed outline, because a lot of the story is backstory. It's a lot of flashbacks into before the virus took over this universe, this town in this universe. And I want to be able to just explore that while I'm writing, and not sort of outline that kind of stuff, because I feel like the backstory comes to me a lot better when I can just pull it out of thin air. It's gonna be a basic outline of the emotions I want these characters to go through, and then also reinforcing their motivations and the significance of the things that are happening with their pasts. I'm going to fix these and give myself an actual reference to what I want the book to be. That's what this vlog is this whole time. And we're getting to it. We're getting to it now. Let's go. Okay, that took way longer than I expected. Not gonna lie. It's like a skeleton outline right now because there's whole patches of story where I just don't have anything because I don't have cards for it. I know what's gonna be in those spots, but just don't have something to represent it right now. I don't even know if this is gonna be the final thing, but I have a basic idea of the story now. I feel like I bulked up the beginning of the story too much. I'll have to fix that, and I'll also have to reorganize what order I do all the backstory in, but that's gonna be for a whole nother draft, I feel. It's just gonna be how it flows as a whole draft, and I can't really determine that right now. I do have what I think is going to be draft 1 so far. I'm going to use this to start out my outline in my digital notebook so I can actually, you know, get a full outline and start writing this book soon, I hope. But I'm gonna do the other part tomorrow, and I'll see you guys then. Yeah. Good evening. It is the next day. I have done like 2/3 of this outline in my digital notebook. It's that's how much is outlined now. Yeah, this is what I have left. This stuff poking out here. So not too much, but I do want to finish this outline tonight. So gotta do it. I might cry. I might cry finishing this outline because the ending is changing, because we're ending the book with one less character, and that's gonna hurt. So far, not a ton has changed. I have added a lot more backstory. Obviously, I feel like I've talked about that so many times in this video, but from my loose, admittedly, recollection of the zero draft that I read in like 3 days, it pretty much follows the same thing. You hit the same beats. Like, I didn't change any of the major plot points. They're just slightly rearranged to make them compound a little bit more. But like, I did not have to do like major story overhaul, which is nice. Which is a first, gonna be honest. But she's looking cute so far. How silly and cute is that? I'm gonna finish these cards. Gonna put them in this notebook. Gonna write some extra updated notes on each, and then the ending I need to completely change, so that might take a little bit longer, but we're gonna get there. We're going to get there, and I'm scared. Okay, it is the next day. I took last night to collect myself because it was sad. It was sad outlining that story. Some better light in here, Jesus. I'm going to move to the window because it looks a lot nicer there. Alright, we're sitting on the floor. Okay. a little tight, a little intimate. My apologies, but it is complete. The outline is done. I posted this on my story last night, on Instagram. Shameless plug if you don't follow me on Instagram. Yeah, I cried. I cried figuring out the ending to this book. Because it was really sad to think about. And to think about writing. Like, I already have, like, lines in my head that I can use for this part of the story that I think will be really good. These highlighted ones are all the new scenes that I added into the end of the book, because that whole thing changed. And then... that's it. 5 pages of outline. Not terrible. Not terrible. I have a good idea of what I'm doing now. And it's not a very detailed outline. Definitely leaves a lot up for me to come up with while I'm writing, which is what I wanted. That's what this story needs, I think, especially at the stage it is right now. But now I know what direction to guide the writing in to get through the whole story, which is nice. But that is it. That is it. Project Glass is re-outlined. Soon, I will be able to start carrying this cute little guy around. I don't know if I showed this in this video or not, in my last writing vlog about Project Moss, where I finished Project Moss. I talked about this a little bit. This is my box for Project Glass. It's like a little school box thing. Got my notebooks for this draft, some sticky notes, just in case I forget to add something, because these pages are small. I ripped this out. I'll talk about that in a later vlog. I'll be carrying this around soon to actually write this book. That's crazy! I haven't written this book since like 2020. But anyways, that is it for this vlog. Hopefully soon I will have another Project Glass vlog where I'm actually writing the book. That would be nice. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. How is writing going for you? Starting any new projects lately, like I have? Technically, no. Starting anything fun. Starting anything from the back burner that has finally come back up. Like me. Whatever you're working on, let me know in the comments, and hope to see you in the next one. Peace.